but mainly wanted to invite everyone here just to celebrate what's been an amazing year for us. As a lot of you know, it's the final week of our Campbell River Urban Watershed Protection and Restoration Project. Well, aside from a little bit more work with the CAT program in the coming weeks, but we've had an extension to March 15th, but the money takes us to the end of this week. So yeah, it's just been a wonderful year for me, and just really wanted to share that with some of our partners and some of our volunteers and people that helped make it an amazing year. So I'll just jump right in. So started wanting to say that Greenways is based in Campbell River, BC, on the traditional territories of the Lippincott people, the Wewakam, the Wewakai, and the Kuyaka First Nations. And we're honored to work with these nations and strive to learn from their relationships with these beautiful lands and waters we call home. So our agenda today, I wanted to just mention the different groups and crews that have been employed by the project, share with you some of our accomplishments and highlights, and as well as legacies from the project, and then open it up for comments and questions and an opportunity to say goodbye to everyone. So first off, the project primarily funded our amazing Watershed Crew. So this has fluctuated a bit from a crew of 4 and 5 and a couple contractors assisting over the course, just with changes in staffing and crew members and things like that. But we've had a really solid core crew for the last little while. And the activities we've been working on are mainly removing invasive plants, planting native trees and shrubs, cleaning up garbage from our natural areas, streams, improving our trails and trail infrastructure, and really so much more. We've come to really count on the crew for doing an amazing job and being able to respond very quickly and effectively to issues that come up. So for me, it's going to be really hard to see them go, but yeah, just they've been doing amazing work. And the other groups that we wanted to mention are, we've been able to have the opportunity to work with a couple of our Indigenous-led groups in the community, one of which is the Wewakam Coastal Guardian Watchmen. So they have been a real pleasure to work with. And through the funding, we were able to help support them to stay on a little bit longer throughout their season. And they work with us mostly doing invasive Himalayan blackberry and Scotch broom removals, as well as doing some planting and assisting us with removing a viewing platform that was dilapidated and needed to go. So yeah, it's been really great working with them. We've been learning lots from them, and just really interesting to share different perspectives on conservation. So it's been really nice. Another group that's been a real pleasure to work with is 7 Generation Stewards Society. So through our project, we were able to support their work planting native trees and shrubs on Eve and Savin rivers north of Campbell River. And altogether, they put in 44,000 native trees. So what they were doing was sort of these little riparian islands within large floodplains. If you look closely at the photo there, you can see it. And the idea is to create a root mat that eventually becomes sort of a hub of vegetation to increase the riparian, like in-stream cover, things like that down the road for those creeks, or rivers, I should say. And 7 Generation Stewards also were able to help us out with leading community action team restoration events at Nuns Creek Park. So that was also really fun to work on with them. And lastly, and I should have said, there was, I think, about 8 coastal guardians working with us and 4 7 Generation Stewards. And then we've also been working with a fluctuating group of community action team participants, and they're members of the underhoused community within Campbell River. So we worked with them primarily at Nuns Creek Park, I think about 7 days total there. And then we're still going to be working with them a little bit before the actual final deadline of the project. So we'll be doing a little bit more work for a few days at Raven Trail. before the end of the project. So the way that works is the participants come out and work for a few hours and then really receive an hourly stipend at the end of their workday for work done. And they did a lot of projects, including, or a lot of activities, including garbage cleanup, removing some invasive plants, scraping graffiti off of trees, and they'll be doing some planting with us at the Raven Trail, things like that. So it's been really nice to work with that community, and we've heard from our partners that it's been really important for the participants that have been working on it, and just led to a lot more confidence building within that group, things like that. I should also mention that our partner with that program is AVI Health and Community Services, and they partnered with us as they're able to come out and help lead the program and also deliver some of their harm reduction messaging within that community. So we've really enjoyed that. Oh, I just see someone in the waiting room. Admit that. Next, I wanted to touch on some of our many accomplishments, but some of our numbers are quite impressive. So first off, we've altogether managed to remove over 7,100 kilograms of invasive plants from our streams and riparian areas in the estuary. So that is an amazing amount. It's phenomenal to try to even comprehend it. And it's been a whole big variety of invasives. So from the estuary marshlands, they've been removing yellow flag iris and purple loosestrife. And from upland, more forested sort of areas, it's been Himalayan blackberry, Scotch broom, English ivy, English holly, things like that. And then also lots of Himalayan balsam from out of our actual stream banks. So tons of invasives. And also quite a lot of garbage removed, a lot of that being from former homeless camps, but also just lots of garbage in streams and things like that. So quite a lot of natural area been cleaned up at our crews. And then this number is completely phenomenal, but almost 50,000 trees and shrubs planted between all of our groups. So 44,000 of those were the plugs by the 7 generation stewards, but also quite a lot of planting done by us and the guardians as well. Some of our other accomplishments are almost 2,000 meters of trails improved, repaired, or closed. So you can see in the top right there is a picture of a stairway that the crew put into a steep section of trail that had been eroding quite a bit and just wasn't working well the way it was. So projects like that, also doing some closing of unsanctioned trails, mostly just trail spurs, like the beginnings of new trails, and some other sort of problem areas, most of which is within Willow Creek Conservation Area, but also some trail work at Raven Trail, as well as Beaver Lodge lands. So definitely some long-lasting improvements there. And the crew has also assisted us with a lot of variety of little things. The purple martin nest monitoring, vegetation surveys to assess the impacts of geese browsing, installing wildlife cameras, and really so much more. They've been just an amazing pleasure to work with and brought so much to our table. Next, I wanted to touch on 3 of our bigger projects just to highlight sort of the nitty-gritty of a couple things that they worked on. First is Willow Creek Conservation Area. So there was an area of forest where likely sort of a byproduct of the COVID pandemic, there's a lot more traffic, a lot more kids playing in the forest, just exploring and sort of using it as an outdoor play space. So the area received a significant loss of understory vegetation, and there was also some bike jumps and things like that in this area. So a combination of compaction in some areas and erosion of the forest floor in other areas. So what we did was we hosted several information sessions to inform neighbors and park users of our plans to restore the area. And then together with school students from the local school district, we planted nearly 1,000 actually I think it was a bit more than that, maybe 1,200 native trees and shrubs with over 400 students from nearby schools. And we used all of the catchment, all of the school, or we invited all of the schools that had catchment areas that bordered Willow Creek Conservation Area. And then we also worked really closely with the Nature Trust of BC as the landowner on this project, and they helped us bring in some truckloads of mulch, and they also helped us to install a split rail fence just to delineate the restoration area and provide some protection to that area in the long term. We also invited media to come out and share our story with the community, and worked closely with a core group of really loyal volunteers in Willow Creek Conservation Area. So we really enjoyed working with them and definitely couldn't have done it without them. Next, we did quite a few projects on Mert Thompson Trail, so just wanted to highlight some of those. And a lot of that was in partnership with Waywacom Coastal Guardians. So together, we just removed an amazing amount of purple loosestrife, Himalayan blackberry, Scotch broom, also the viewing platform that I mentioned, I've got some photos of in the next slide, and planting over 450 native trees and shrubs and grasses. Some of those were in the area where we moved the viewing platform, and others were in areas that previously had invasive plants or areas where we lost some of our plants during the heat dome. We also spent a lot of energy watering the plants along Mert Thompson as well as at Beakey Island this summer, just trying to keep ahead of that heat wave. And lastly, we installed 2 purple martin nest poles, and they're the type that you can raise and lower, and they're to replace the poles that were further out in the estuary that were becoming too degraded to safely check. And here you can see some photos of why the Mert Thompson platform needed to be removed. You can see that the bank eroded there and some of the supports washed away. So, and it was also leading to some scouring around the anchors of the platform. So it really needed to go and wasn't a good spot for it. So the Guardians helped us to remove it as well as to plant around it. So you can see in the picture on the right that we've installed some dune grasses and native trees and shrubs to help stabilize that area in the long term. And that was a very heavy duty, hard on the muscles project for us all. And the last project I wanted to highlight more closely was the work we did on Sims Creek. So we worked in partnership with the stream keepers to remove a lot of large garbage items that were embedded in the stream banks. So a lot of that was like former fence post anchors, so combination of rebar and concrete that was just thrown down the bank by previous landowners likely. And lots of sort of landscaping things and some shopping carts and bikes and stuff like that. And then we also removed quite a few bags of garbage, I think 20 bags or something like that, that were brought in by bears, taking residential garbage into the bush and then picking through it to eat what's edible. So there was quite a lot of that in that area. We also reduced 2 large debris jams, so log piles across the creek that were threatening to block fish passage as well as cause downstream property damage in flooding events. And we also planted native trees and shrubs and removed a lot of Himalayan balsam from the banks. And then in the photo there that the Campbell River Mirror took, you can see we were putting together some brush bundles, and the idea behind those is that they provide some cover for fry to hide under and food sources and things like that. So a lot of fun working with the stream keepers there, as well as with Stacy from DFO. And here I just wanted to touch on some of the wonderful legacies the project has brought to us. One is a brochure that we all really like called the Good Creek Neighbor Guide. So that's just to help give some ideas to local residents and park users and anyone really that lives near an urban creek, which in Campbell River is almost everywhere, about ways to help protect our creek as a landowner, or not even a landowner, but as someone who lives near the creek or recreates near the creek. So lots of great information in there. So thanks, Melody, for putting that one together. And Melody also led on a couple signage projects with us. So we've got a Beaky Island kiosk sign. So this is in the photo here, you can see one side of it, but it really celebrates the work that Greenways and the Guardians and Guardians of Mid-Island Estuaries and the city have all been working on throughout Beaky Island Nature Reserve to increase habitat value and improve some of the issues there. And then we've also got a couple other signage projects for Willow Creek Estuary, as well as some of our creek crossings. So all of those were worked on mostly by Melody, and I think they're all looking really good. So that's a wonderful legacy for us. Another legacy is just strengthening the relationships we have with our partners, supporting the efforts of our local stream keepers and our loyal local volunteers. So those are important legacies for us. And then I think maybe the biggest legacy of all is engaging so many future stewards through the work we did at the Willow Creek Conservation Area, planting with all the kids. I've heard lots of times from kids that go to school with mine how much they enjoyed those plantings. So I think it was quite impactful for them. And next, I just wanted to share some mug shots of our lovely crew. So it's Melody on the left, and then Callie, Jacob, and Katrice, and they're all out there loving what they do. They've brought so much to Greenways, and I've had such a lovely time working with them this past year, and I've invited them to share some of their thoughts now if they would like to. But yeah, I can't say enough how wonderful they've been to work with, such a hardworking crew, really pleasant, really love what they do, really care about what they're working on, just so passionate and such a pleasure. So I'll hand it over. Not sure who wants to go first, but any takers?
I can start.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I'll start kind of maybe at the core. Like firstly, just saying thank you to Camille for guiding us through this. I know we've had a lot of changes and stuff like that down like along the way, but it's been really wonderful working with you. And I was gonna say, like, I guess a highlight for myself, and I'm sure our other crew members, has just been being able to get to know each other, both like in the field, but also out in our off time. I think we've, not only worked really well together as a crew, but we've formed some friendships where we, hike and snowshoe and we camp on the weekends. And I know for myself, I'm really looking forward to just seeing where everybody goes from here. And just really thankful for the relationships that I've made over the last year with the crew.
Thanks, Melody. Great.
I'll go next. I guess basically just reiterating what Melody said. I think we really all lucked out just all being a bunch of really kind of nerdy nature enthusiasts who are just really excited about working outside and really passionate about what we do. And yeah, just the relationships that we built along the way and getting to know everyone within Greenways and the volunteers and members of the community. And it's just been a really special thing to be a part of, and it's been really lovely. So it'll be sad to see everybody go, but hopefully we can still go on hikes and still connect and do volunteer things and stuff like that in the future. So it's just been a really, really great experience, almost a whole year now. So it's been awesome.
Thanks, Callie. Jacob, do you want to go next since you're next in line?
By the order from the picture, so.
Awesome, thank you.
That's right, yeah. Wow, where to begin? I don't know. It was exciting and rewarding to work with a hardworking and fun crew on so many interesting projects. And thank you most of all, Camille, for being such an awesome person and providing an amazing guidance to us all. In case you haven't heard it enough, I really appreciate the opportunity to work with Greenways. I learned so much from our knowledgeable board of directors and dedicated volunteers, volunteer groups, even kids, and we welcome Coastal Guardian Watchmen and Seven Generation Stewards Society and many other conservation partners that we work with over the entire year. There are just so many memories and moments that I want to share with you all, but there's just not enough time. But yeah, I just want to highlight that one of my favorite experience working in the summer is that I got the experience to work with a lot of wildlife related projects, including installing the purple modern poles and nest boxes and monitoring the chicks over time. Yeah, the chicks were so cute and they're so fluffy. And I mean, after they have had the feathers, but before that was there's no feather, you know. Anyways, and also they poop a lot. Surprise, fun fact. Yeah. Anyway,
Sure.
yeah. And last, I just want to thank you all again for this amazing experience. And yeah.
Thanks so much, Jacob. Katrice, are you well enough to share any thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just to go off what everyone said, and it's been such like a rewarding experience to work in like just with a bunch of other passionate people, and everyone's so excited to get these projects done and off the ground. And it's such a great work environment to be in, having everyone so passionate about that. And I just think all of the projects were so great, being able to partner with everyone. I feel like that's where you learn the most, and getting to know all the volunteers who were on the ground with us. So that was really great. And yeah, I don't know much to add, but I just want to reiterate what everyone said, because it was just such a great experience. And I know that we'll probably all carry this all with us and on to our next adventures, and such a great crew to work with, and Camille guiding us. And yeah, I'm excited and really thankful for this experience, and glad I got to join Greenways, and I feel like I learned so much. So yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Katrice. Knew I was going to have a hard time not tearing up here. So thank you all. It's been so nice, as I said. I also just wanted to do a quick shout out to all of our amazing partners, to the stream keepers and volunteers that we've worked with, the board of directors that have helped guide us, Stacey Larson, our amazing community advisor with DFO, Terry and Alex, especially with the City of Campbell River, for the many, many questions that we've asked, being patient with us, as well as just so lucky to work with such amazing conservation groups. So Purple Martin Stewardship and Recovery Program, Welcome Coastal Guardians, Nature Trust of BC, the Nature Conservancy of Canada, and the Guardians of Mid-Island Estuaries. So I feel like we've been really lucky to have all those opportunities. And also another shout out just to our community groups that we work with. ABI has been a real pleasure to work with the CAT program, and then the CAT program itself. I always say this wrong, but the Cluatl office, as well as Interforce sent a group of volunteers out to support us one day. So just a really great community that we work in. Shout out to all of them. And then, of course, a huge thank you to our funders, who gave us a very generous grant to be able to work on this project. So that came from the Healthy Watersheds Initiative, which is administered by the Real Estate Foundation of BC with support from Watersheds BC. And that was a provincially funded program to stimulate BC's economic regrowth following the initial COVID pandemic, through investing in community-driven watershed conservation and restoration projects. So I think a great legacy for the project, for the province to have undertaken, and we've really appreciated that we've been able to be involved with it. Also, I just wanted to thank the Real Estate Foundation of BC for being so lovely to work with. Their staff are amazing, and amazing resources that they've shared with us throughout the project. And that pretty much sums up everything I wanted to say, but I wanted to open it up for the rest of the participants that have come out today to see if there's anything they'd like to share. So I might stop screen share now so that we can all see each other's faces again.